Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to EIA online workshop on the topic of 21st century global employment skill today. I'm Jenny Do, Acting Manager of Partnership and Industry Engagement at EIA and GBCA in Melbourne. First of all, thank you everyone for joining our workshop today. In this workshop, we have attendees, including students from our Huashan Vocational College, EIA, GBCA, and all of our onshore and offshore partner, and also including other students from onshore university in Australia. This time we are honored to have invited Mr. Rhys William to speak about the topic of 21st century global employment skill. It is a two-section program to assist our young students and graduates secure a professional job in business in global setting. So today is the first section, and the second session will be conducted tomorrow, Wednesday, from 4:10 p.m. Melbourne time. So I will hand over this workshop to Rhys for him to start now.
Thanks very much, Jenny. Look, it's a great pleasure to be able to offer this workshop, or the first part of this workshop today, particularly for Huashan students, which is a very important GBCA and EIA partner. So I would perhaps ask people to put themselves on mute. Could everybody put themselves on mute? I'm getting an awful lot of background noise. Okay. Thanks very much. Sorry, Jenny, I can't hear a thing.
Hello, hi. From Huashan, can you mute the speaker, please? Because it's a lot of background noise.
Okay.
I don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from somewhere.
It's from Huashan. Yes. Yeah. Now it's better. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
So you can certainly unmute yourself when you want to ask a question. But sorry, I just can't hear. There's just an awful lot of background noise. But look, it's an absolute pleasure to be able to offer this session for all students, particularly Chinese students who are entering a global workforce, and by a global workforce, I mean working with people all over the world. This can be in China, or it can be in Australia or another country. Increasingly, we are finding that employers are looking for a series of what I've termed 21st century global employment skills. So what the aim of the session is to help you better understand what those, and I've got five, we'll talk about five 21st century global employment skills, get a better handle on that. And look, I'll go for about 40 or 45 minutes, and then we'll hand over to questions. So that's the first session. The second session tomorrow, we're going to look at what we call key selection criteria. Many international students and international graduates who apply for positions, their job application just gets thrown in the rubbish bin, unfortunately, because in a more global environment, most employers, particularly in big enterprises, have what they call key selection criteria for a particular position. These are the mandatory or the highly preferred skills and qualifications and experiences that they're expecting from their applicants. And if applicants don't do a particular document which addresses these selection criteria and are prepared to ask questions about them in their job interview, then they're going to struggle to get the job. So we will spend the second session having a look at key selection criteria and give you a little bit more of at least some information about how to successfully address those key selection criteria, both in your written application and then in the subsequent job interview. In China particularly, employment is very much related to the networks that you've cultivated in your degree program or your master's program. And many Chinese degree programs, the final semester of the program is an internship where students either work for or engage with an employer and get a job that way. In a more global environment, it's a little bit different. Jobs are advertised and people need to address the key selection criteria for those particular positions. In other words, the selection of students is less based on who you know, and more based on you being able to demonstrate your suitability and your experience against those selection criteria. So that's an area where international students struggle. I've known this, been involved with employing international students and training international students for 20 or 25 years, particularly students from China. And that's an area that is new for people, so we'll cover that. But the first session, let's for the next half hour or so have a little bit of a look at 21st century global employment skills. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you see that? Okie doke. So the first thing I want to look at is what we might term. I'll just make that a little bit bigger. The first thing I want to cover is what we might term workplace volatility and opportunity. It's estimated today that well over 50% of today's primary school students are being educated for jobs that haven't yet been invented. So kids today of 10 or 12, they'll be entering the workforce in another 15 years. And for 50% of those, in 15 years' time, they'll be entering jobs which haven't yet been invented. So that shows you, the great volatility of the workforce. In addition, the jobs in 15 years' time will be unrecognisable to today's versions of the job. Most occupations we're seeing are being currently revolutionised by information technology, particularly artificial intelligence, blockchain, and machine learning. Those particular IT applications are revolutionising most jobs, and certainly most jobs that you students at Huaxiang will be going for. And into the future also, most jobs simply won't require any manual skills anymore. So the other statistic that I came up with was that talking to accounting employers were telling me at a conference not so long ago that they simply won't employ accountants who don't have sophisticated data analysis skills, that there's been a merging of traditional accounting with information technology. And engineers are saying that by the time you're employed as an engineer, about 50% of what you've learnt in your engineering degree is already out of date. So that shows you the volatility of the workforce that you're seeking to get a job in, but it also shows you the great opportunity. I'm just struggling here. Just bear with me one sec. Sorry, Jenny, I'm just, my slides have frozen.
Yeah. Is it hang?
Here we go. Sorry, everybody. So the thrivers in this new environment will have transferable skills. You'll have a number of jobs in your lifetime in many different sectors. And above all, you need to be capable of creating your own jobs. 20 years ago, when I interviewed our students in China, for a couple of Victorian universities, they always said, my aim is to get a job in a good state-owned enterprise. Today, students in China are saying, I want to create my own job. That is going to be very, very important into the future. Okay, so let's have a look at an overview. Firstly, we'll look at an overview of what these 21st century global employment skills are. Firstly, you've got a range of what we might call hard skills. These are the technical competence you need for today a cluster of disciplines. I used the example before of accounting. Today, the hard skills of an accountant are not enough. You also need the hard skills, the technical competence of someone with sophisticated data analysis skills. So we'll start having a look at some of those clusters of occupations which are emerging in advanced economies. Secondly, and this is growing in importance every day, employers are looking for soft skills. These are the character traits and interpersonal skills which complement the hard skills. Many international students, when they go for a job or when they go for their first job, very proudly tell the employer of the marks that they got in their degree and how well they did in their degree and what their GPA was. And today, employers are likely to be quite unimpressed by that. They don't want to, they assume that you've got good marks in your degree or master. What they're looking for is for people who've got character traits and interpersonal skills which are complementing those hard skills. And we'll have a look at them in a little bit more detail in a minute. So thirdly, and again, this is growing in importance every day, digital literacy, the ability to identify and use technology confidently, creatively, and critically to meet the demands and challenges of life today. Many of you graduating today are or should have good digital literacy skills. Your very, very sophisticated use of social media, your ability to use a range of different software and hardware will stand you in very, very good stead. but employers want this digital literacy related to your occupation, whether it be accounting, social work, media, marketing. Number 4 and number 5 go together, and they're increasingly important. Intercultural capacity and bilingualism. Doesn't matter if you work in Australia or China today, in a modern global workforce, particularly in professional jobs, you need to be confidently working with people from different backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, different religious backgrounds. Increasingly, you'll work with them online in digital teams and communicate digitally. So that intercultural capacity is critically important, as is bilingualism, the ability to speak one or more languages, and preferably one of those languages. You will be advantaged if it's the English language. So let's quickly summarise. You need a set of hard skills. You need a set of soft skills. Increasingly, you need digital literacy and the ability to be bilingual and deal with people from many different cultural backgrounds. They are probably a reasonable summary of the key 21st century capabilities that employers are looking for. Okay, I talked to you when we looked at hard skills. I talked about hard skills, not just for an occupation today, but for a cluster of occupations. So 20 years ago, you did a degree in banking so that you could prepare for a job in a bank. 10 years ago, the degrees changed to a degree in banking and finance because there was an emergence of banking and financial services together. Today, we have degrees in financial services because financial services are provided by banks, private finance companies, insurance companies, etc., and so forth. So that's one example of how we've got what we call a convergence of jobs. So you might be doing an accounting degree or a marketing degree or a marketing diploma, a business diploma, but increasingly you're going to need to have those wider technical skills. And I'll give Chloe, your teacher at Huasheng, and also for you others who've tuned in for today's activity, I'll give you a copy of the report, the very interesting report called the New Work Order that this has come from. But increasingly, you need to be aware as a young graduate that jobs are converging. We've got generators, coordinators, informers, artisans, and technologists and carers. These are all occupations or a family of occupations which are closely related together. I won't go through this in great detail, but this is designed to show you the jobs, the specific roles, and the industries which are becoming included in these clusters. This slide shows you, as new graduates, the sorts of jobs based on the course that you're doing or the family of courses that you're doing, the first sorts of jobs that you will be picking up. So I'd imagine a number of you are doing business programs. You'll be informers, young people often gain early career experience in this job cluster through jobs like a recruitment consultant, event organizer, bank worker, etc. and so forth. So you might be an informer, or you might, if you're involved more in a routine job in the back office, you might be more related to being a generator or a technologist. But I urge you, you young people, graduates, and in doing a course, don't think narrowly about the marketing course or the accounting course that I'm doing. Think a little bit more broadly of the skills and the knowledge that you're learning, because you will need to apply that to a number of jobs, different jobs in your life and in your career. Let me, before we have a look at some of these skills in some detail, let's have a look at an example for you. This is a person who has been in the workforce for about 40 years, started in 1997 and retires after 40 years in the workforce about now. So let's have a look at some of the changes that have affected their lifestyle or their workplace, the workplace that they've been in over 40 years. This is to demonstrate how profound the changes have been over the last 40 years and how over your life in the workplace, the changes are going to be even greater. So from an arts degree, the major resources were library books and journals, physical things. First job in the printing industry. The printing industry, this was in 1978. This is well before even photocopying. All print that was made started with molten lead. Big machines created lead type, which was put on a machine, inked, and then paper was rolled across it to produce printed matter. Doesn't exist today. Then the person became a teacher. The technology in 1980 was chalk. That was all we had, chalk, and films, films that went through a projector, and VHS tapes, video that was on tape. Today, of course, it's all digital. And then the person did a master's degree, and that master's degree had computers had been invented by then, and the computer was a mainframe computer, and all students at that time needed to create these little punch cards which went into the computer to create your computer program. Then they got a job in 2003 building one of the first database-driven websites and took a job known as an information architect. Information architect was a job that certainly hadn't been invented when that person joined the workforce. And in 2021, this year, still doing some teaching, and of course, the teaching is very different. The teaching today using Moodle, using Zoom, using a range of technologies powered by the internet. Now, this example is me. I started the work in way back there in 1997, and these are the technological and these are the workplace changes that I've had to experience. These are the changes that I've had to develop the flexibility to be able to cope with, or I would be unemployed. So these are the that's the sort of flexibility and resilience that all of you are going to need. Okay, so let's have a look at each of these 5 skills in a little bit of detail. Your hard skills, your technical competence. If you're doing accounting, banking and finance, as many of you are certainly at Huasheng, make sure that you're developing not only the accounting or marketing knowledge and skills that you need, but also the understanding that you're going to need to apply those skills in wider areas. One of the great pieces of technical competence is learning how to learn, because so much of the knowledge and skills that you're learning today in your course will be out of date very soon. So these are the hard skills, the technical competence that you need. Of even greater importance, employers are wanting soft skills, problem solving, self-direction, leadership, resilience, etc. The workforce of 40 years ago, when I joined it, was a workforce where the boss or the supervisor gave you, verbally or in writing, a range of duties that he or she wanted completed. Today, the workforce is the exact opposite of that. Your supervisor or your boss isn't going to ask you to do a range of things. Increasingly in professional jobs, you'll be asked to problem solve. In other words, I don't want you to do these 3 or 4 things in order. I want you to achieve an outcome, and I want you to achieve that outcome, solve that problem of using your own intelligence, your own wisdom, and your own skills. So problem solving, the ability to solve a problem rather than being told what to do, will be so much more important. This, of course, requires self-direction. You need to be able to very effectively run your life in the workforce. You need to be very self-directed and self-motivated. Everybody, it doesn't matter whether you work at the bottom, the middle, or at the top. Everybody needs to show leadership skills in what they do. They need to be able to demonstrate that they can take a series of people together in a team and provide some leadership for them. Resilience. Resilience is becoming more and more important. Resilience is the ability to get up when you've been knocked over. So often in the workplace, things go wrong. Things don't turn out the way you wanted them to, or the way that they've intended. And you need to be able to show great resilience in being able to bounce back, to be able to keep your level of self-worth and your level of confidence up. Teamwork. I can't emphasize more teamwork. Today, people very rarely work as individuals in any workplace. They work as a member of a team. And in a team, you need to be able to demonstrate that you can play all of the different roles that are required in a team, that you can lead the team, that you can be the people person in a team that makes sure everybody is connected, that you can play the technical expert role in a team, that you can employ the problem-solving role or the reality testing role in a team. Interpersonal communication, the ability to communicate with diverse people. Work ethic, to be able to get a lot of work done and be reliable and responsible. Employers often look for work ethic. They want someone who's got the ability to work hard, work smart, and work in a very efficient and organised way. And finally, we've talked about this previously, you need to be, above all, in today's workforce, very flexible and adaptable. Companies come and go. Technology changes daily. Work routines change very quickly. Products and services, the lifestyle of a product or service changes far more rapidly, and you need to be very flexible and adaptable to be able to cope. So, hard skills, the technical skills that you need to do a particular job, and the soft skills. Think of the hard skills as the bricks in a wall, and the soft skills as the concrete or the mortar, the glue, which holds that brick wall up. You can have a great number of bricks, you can have great competence, but it won't be very strong in a wall unless you have that mortar of the soft skills holding it all together. Okay, digital literacy. You need to be proficient with multiple software programs, understand how mobile computing works. You need to be able to process data and information in a range of different ways. You need to enhance your work output through your digital literacy, understand conferencing very well, for example, what we're doing now. And you need to develop great social media expertise and search expertise. Companies 10 or 15 years ago who were selling a product or a service, the big activity every year was producing the marketing brochure or the prospectus for the next year. Today, that doesn't happen anymore. The advertising is not in one document that lasts for the year. The promotion of that product, the information about that product is increasingly on social media. And marketers today talk about narratives, stories, conversations. So you need to be able to be very au fait or very competent with social media. Intercultural capacity, communicating naturally and effectively with people from different backgrounds, understanding the impact of religion and values in the workplace. And this is a good expression for you to always remember. The ability to be able to walk a mile in my shoes, the ability to be able to walk a mile or really understand how a person from a different religion or someone from a Western country thinks, behaves, what motivates them, to understand that very, very naturally and effectively, so that particularly for Chinese graduates, that you can work very effectively and very quickly from people from Western backgrounds. That doesn't mean to say that you need to become Western. It doesn't mean to say that you need to adopt Western values. It simply means that you'll be far more effective in your job if you can walk a mile in the shoes of someone from a Western background. Okay, and then finally, bilingualism. The ability to be bilingual or trilingual opens many workplace doors, especially if one of those languages that you speak is English. Many Chinese students are very advantaged because they speak Mandarin and another dialect like Hokkien or Cantonese or Wu. So that opens many doors. Many more doors are open for you if you've got a good professional command of the English language. Why? Simply because the largest, if we want to combine first and second language groups globally, the biggest group of speakers is clearly English. That the English language is most widely spoken, and particularly most widely spoken as the language of business. English is probably as close to an international language as we have. So one of the things I'd encourage you to do, particularly if you have interest in working for a multinational corporation or for a Chinese corporation that operates globally, is to have as good English language proficiency as possible, because that will certainly open more and more doors for you as your career progresses, and it will provide you with a lot more choices. Okay, so that's where I'm going to stop for the minute and pass over to you now. I'll just stop sharing the screen. So I'm going to stop there in terms of presenting you any more content and throw it over to you for questions that you have related to what I've spoken about and related to preparing for a job into the future.
Thank you, Reese, for the great presentation. Now we will start the Q&A section. So do you have any question to Reese? You can leave your message in the chat box, or you can raise your hand, you can unmute and ask questions. Is there anyone have any questions?
I'm sure you've got questions. Don't be shy. Please don't be shy.
Is there any questions from Huasheng?
Oh, well, they are still thinking about the questions, so please wait for a while. Thank you.
Chloe,
Okay.
what courses are these students doing?
A lot of different courses. Just now, they took the listening and speaking, English listening and speaking course. Yeah, before our lecture.
Excellent. So, are they doing engineering or business, accounting? What sort of majors are they doing?
There are many different majors. Some students majors in business English, and some major in international business and
accounting. And accounting. Okay.
Financial management.
Okay. Well, those courses that you're doing, business English, international trade or international business, and accounting, very exciting majors to be doing today. They're very exciting majors because if you've got a good set of the skills that we've talked about, the hard skills, the soft skills, the digital literacy, and the bilingual skills, if you can develop those together as a package, then your employment opportunities in those areas are brilliant into the future. All of those occupations, all of those clusters will be growing certainly over the next 10 and 20 years. So you've picked wisely, and if you can combine those skills together, you'll do very well.
Sorry to disturb you. Can I have a question?
Fire away. What's your question? Could you turn on your... How about turning on your camera? Because it'd be nice to see you rather than 3 people's feet.
Okay. Yes, because I'm at home and I'm taking care of my kids. I just
No
worry
problem.
about will disturb you. So I
Not a
close
problem.
my camera.
So what's your question?
Yeah, my question is, because I missed part of the your course. So did you mention some engines we can find the jobs online?
Oh, some engines. Okay.
Yeah, some like Seek. I know Seek and what else? Job. I don't know. I only can remember Seek. That's what I used normally, but it still cannot help a lot to find a job in Australia. You know.
Yeah. I've got 3 suggestions for you. Firstly, the broad general search engines or platforms like Seek, you really need to engage with them because that's where so many employers advertise positions, because it's really so cheap to advertise on Seek. Seek is becoming, and other websites like Seek are becoming, and certainly in China as well, they're becoming a lot more sophisticated for what we call advanced search. So you can program in, and you can still do it free. You can program in a series of jobs or phrases, and each week it will send you a range of different jobs that you can apply for. Number 2, and this is what we're going to cover next week. So many international students see a job on Seek and they send their CV and a covering letter, and that is effectively a total waste of your time and a total waste of the employer's time. Why? The employer is more likely to engage with you if you address the key selection criteria. Okay? So we'll cover that a little bit next week. But so many international students just fire off a covering letter and a CV, still full of spelling mistakes, not a professional document, and it immediately goes into the bin. Today, the latest research tells us that HR professionals in companies, would you believe it, spend only 90 seconds on every application. 90 seconds, 1.5 minutes. So you need to have a very, very compelling story for that employer. So yes, use Seek and others. Number 2, address the key selection criteria, and we'll have a look at that a little bit more next week. But thirdly, also go to the professional associations that are for your occupation. What is your what is your degree? What major did you do?
I have already got my master's degree of accounting,
Okay.
and now I'm learning interpreting, diploma of interpreting. Do you know why? When I attend the job, the manager or the boss found my English not good, and I feel so frustrated, you know. Like said, why you got the master degree, but you can't handle the daily English very well. So that's why I resigned and started again. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that comment is just one employer. Your English skills, I think, would be perfectly suitable for most workplaces. But accounting today, even if you've got a master's, you really need professional accreditation. So CPA, CA, the two main internationally recognised professional associations. Go to their websites. Strongly consider taking the CPA accreditation or the CA accreditation. But most importantly, go to their websites where many employers will advertise jobs. And getting a job through one of the professional association websites can be a lot more successful than Seek. Okay?
Yeah.
Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Come on, Huashang students. I'm sure you've got some questions.
What do you think of to improve the education background or working after graduation for us?
I can't. Chloe, could you relay that question? The sound's not good.
I'll let him repeat the question.
What do you think of improved education background or working after graduation for us?
I think you've got it. I've got three suggestions for you. Are you? What year of the course are you in? Are you a freshman or? Sophomore. Okay. In your sophomore year, you need to start to try and get some part-time work experience or voluntary experience, or do some work projects as part of your course. These are the sorts of experiences that employers will be looking for. So that is where you're starting to develop some of those soft skills which employers will be looking for. So that's the first suggestion I have for you. And then I'd suggest that you apply very widely for jobs. Most of the ones you'll be rejected because you don't have experience. But if you've got some experience as part of your course, then you're going to have a greater chance of getting a job. And thirdly, we'll look at it next week. The ability to address key selection criteria and sell yourself. Employers are looking for not someone who's just technically competent in accounting or marketing or whatever course you've done, but someone who's got really good soft skills, someone who is going to immediately add value in the role that they have.
I just think I improve my education can find a good job or get a higher salaries.
What I'm saying is that the best way to improve your education is during your studies, getting some work experience through an internship or some voluntary work.
就是说他指出 ，OK 就是说，就是他建议你除了学习，
Chloe,
Okay,
you might need to interpret a little bit of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will interpret it later after.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Okay. We've still got a few others online. Any other questions or comments about your experiences?
Hello. Yeah.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. I got a question about what kind of question when you have an interview? What kind of question the interviewer will ask me so we can have something prepared?
Okay. This is what we're going to look at next week in some detail. The employer is going to ask you a whole lot of questions related to those 5 skill areas: hard skills, soft skills, your digital literacy, and your bilingual skills. They're the areas that you'll get questions. And we'll look at those in some detail next week. Okay? Sorry, not next week, tomorrow. However, the key thing that you need to be aware of is not to be shy and have the ability to sell yourself, to work on not being shy, not being a show-off, but showing to an employer the skills and the capabilities and the great personality that you have that will show how you will value add the job. Now, many students say to me, how on earth can I do that when I've got no experience? I'm just a student. If you look carefully, there are many areas in the course you've done that will help you answer that question. Working with a colleague, another student, on a project, doing social service as part of your extracurricular activity, doing other voluntary work, case studies that you've done, projects as part of you've done as your assessment, are all excellent examples of how good you would be, good evidence of how good you're going to be for the job. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, but tomorrow, please come along tomorrow. I encourage you to come along tomorrow because we will look at a number of those questions in detail. And to prepare, ask your teacher, Chloe, to give you the rest of the PowerPoint slides so that you can read them before tomorrow's session.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. All right, we've got time for a few more questions. Come on, don't be shy.
Is there any more questions to raise? Anyone?
No more. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I think we are about done for today's session. Thank you, Reese, for delivering this very useful session for the student. And like what we mentioned just now, the second section of this workshop will be conducted tomorrow, Wednesday at 4:10 Melbourne time, for RIS to continue with this career topic and addressing on the key selection criteria tomorrow. So please follow our EIA social media platform and secure your time for the tomorrow workshop. And for your information, this workshop has been recorded and will be uploaded on our EIA website. And you are only welcome to visit our website to review the video again. Thank you everyone for joining the workshop today, and thank you for your time. Enjoy this useful section, and we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.